Hello and welcome to the Energy Connect studio at Gastech 2025 in Milan. I'm delighted to have sitting next to me in the studio today, Nathan Brawn, COO at Context Labs. Thank you so much, Nathan, for being with us today.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Can you talk to us about how Context Labs is leading the shift from estimates to contextual intelligence?
Absolutely. We at Context Labs, we're a technology company, and our goal is to help our customers understand what's going on in their real-world operations through the emissions lens. For a long time, emissions has been dealt with using, frankly, desktop exercises around applying a factor to an equipment count, for example, which is really detached from what's going on every day on the ground. And so we're accessing large amounts of operational data, instrumentation data, to derive and determine and help those companies quantify their emissions with that real world attachment at a much higher frequency so that we can close that gap between the actual understanding and quantification of emissions, an insight or opportunity that you can generate from that data, and taking action to decarbonize your operations.
And as a part of that, you're also turning emissions performance into a commercial advantage.
Yes. I like to say our customers are really focused on doing the good work. When you do that good work, you're doing it for multiple reasons. One of those reasons is to differentiate yourself from your peers. And so being able to provide a proof of that work around emissions performance is part of what our platform enables, which when you attach that to a commodity, say for natural gas, sets you apart from your peers. If you're able to be a lower carbon intensity producer of the product, that has value in the world from an emissions perspective, especially for the consumers of energy, especially here in the EU.
And what would be a key number that stands out in that journey?
A key number? Methane intensity is certainly something that's a lot of focus. Carbon intensity is a lot of focus. I always like to think about it's largely discussed around a percentage reduction versus the average. I would love for the average to continually go down because these companies are continuing to perform at a higher level. For our clients, they're seeing significant gains of 50, 60, 70, 80% improvement over what has historically been assumed in the industry around carbon intensity for natural gas production and the movement of the product. So for me, that we always look at these goals as they should be iterative and constantly aiming towards a lower target.
All this wouldn't be possible without your body of work in AI.
Yeah, so we first are solving a massive data problem. Company systems were not built with emissions in mind. So we access data from very disparate systems across the company's assets. And actually bringing that information into a common lens uses and requires some of the new AI tools that we've built at Context Labs. It also enables us to provide greater access to this information to our users. So for our customers, you don't have to be an air emissions expert to access the data that we generate. You can access these using these newer AI tools through natural language prompting, through some interesting AI algorithmic analysis. And we try to build these tools in for our customers to, frankly, make it easier for them to gain insight and to make decisions.
Now, you spoke about scaling up, and one of the ways in which you're supporting that is through the Open Decarbonization Project.
Yeah, so it's very important that when you take something like emissions, a big concept for us in the way we've designed our platform and the way the broader world views it is there has to be a clear element of trust and how you develop trust in that conversation. We've tried to achieve that in multiple ways. One of those ways is through the Open Decarbonization Project, where we have provided an open source methodology with a number of industry partners supporting it around how we perform the emissions quantification activities so that can continually evolve using best-in-class science, best-in-class technology, because this is an evolution. It's not a point in time. And we want to make sure that's front and center, transparent, and knowledge that is among the industry and not kept behind some wall for us to use. So that transparency element is key and for trust. The other way that we embed trust is making sure that the data that we capture, the quantification activities that we perform are fully auditable and fully immutable. And what I mean by that is we can't change the numbers. They are what they are. We get that information verified by third parties. And so building in these elements of trust actually makes the emissions conversation much easier between our customers and their stakeholders.
And looking ahead, you've already built your expertise on methane and carbon, but how are you expanding the emissions intelligence frontier?
So certainly there's still a lot of work to do in methane and carbon intensity. It's not the only intensity that the world cares about, especially in the advent of needs for immense amounts of power to power data centers, for example. There's other things that go into that process. Water intensity is another. So we like to think about it as any real world resource that's being used that could have an environmental impact. We want to make sure that we track, trace, quantify the use or the emissions from that source so that our customers can prove their performance in that realm. So extending into things like water use and water intensity will become more important as we move along in our own evolution.
That's great. And Nathan, it's been such a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for coming down to the Energy Connect studio.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching, and you can get more exclusive interviews with global energy leaders and comprehensive coverage of the energy industry at energyconnects.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media, and I'll be back with more studio interviews from Gastech 2025. Stay tuned.